let's
You know what it is time for? It's time to introduce our guest. Do you like that link? We're getting really good at this, Stu, to be fair. So it's time to introduce our members today. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Sarah Bass, Sheila Lemon, and Paul Barnes. Come on in, everybody.
Come on in. Lovely to see you.
There we go. Good morning. Morning.
Morning.
Morning.
Paul. Morning, Sarah.
Sheila, have you got your camera on? There we go. Oh.
I have.
There she is. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Member Spotlight. Lovely to have you all here. And without any further ado, I'm going to just ask you to introduce yourself and what your business is. So we'll start with you, Sheila.
Oh, right. Okay. Sheila Lemon, and my business is network marketing. I'm in the network marketing profession with, in my opinion, the best one ever. It's Forever Living, the aloe vera company, and what makes it so good is it's in its 43rd year of constant growth, and they're just always doing anything they can to help everybody, the environment, the people involved, absolutely everybody. So I am passionate about the company.
Oh, thank you, Sheila. What about you, Sarah?
Hi, morning everyone. Sarah Bass, owner at Oraculum RPO. We provide employee support services to SME businesses and HR professionals.
Sarah, just a quick one. For those who don't know, what does RPO stand for?
Recruitment process outsourcing. So in a nutshell, we're outsourced recruitment support and employee support. So we offer a range of services for the whole employee cycle.
Thank you very much.
You get what you want when you need it. So that's what we do.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sarah. And Paul?
Good morning, guys. So I'm Caribou Digital, and we create mobile apps. Mobile apps that solve your and your customers' needs from the outset. And
he's really hiding his light under a bushel there. I've been working with Paul over the last few weeks on his Hubbub content and diving deep into what he does. Amazing work that he's been doing, and he recently had a win that he didn't put in the box, that he got a commendation, an honourable mention in an award ceremony. No, an award voting thing. Look, he's being so modest.
Don't get that information out of him. Don't you worry. We're going to loosen him up and get him talking.
Right, Lou, why don't you go for it and ask your first not victim.
Let's ask the first question. So I'm going to ask the same question to all three of you. Why did you choose the industry or sector or niche that you did? If I can start with you, Paul. So if you could just talk us through why you chose the industry.
Sure. I guess it kind of chose me, really, at the end of the day. It's something I've been involved with over the last 25 years. I've been in software, since coming out of university. And over time, I've kind of developed my skills and experience, and a lot of that has been around e-commerce, commerce, working with stores like John Lewis, Tesco, Dunelm, but also a lot of kind of workforce management. So how to kind of support teams doing stuff, processing the stuff that they do, plumbers, water networks, that kind of thing. So now I build software specifically to help people build great commerce and e-commerce experiences, and helping companies get better productivity through their workforce.
Brilliant. And so was it something that, so when you were, very young, is it something you've always been interested in? So it was a natural progression, or was it sort of, I don't really know what to do and I'm quite like this, so I'll just go with that? Was it a passion that you've had? Because you're obviously very passionate about it. So was it always?
Yeah, unfortunately. I was the 12-year-old with my Commodore 64, trying to write software and programs, reading magazines on how to write code for this and code for that, and spending far too much time behind that computer than going out. And then, yeah, just progressed through, different parts of my education. And actually, I did software and computer studies and things like that because I didn't know what other things to do in, history, English, or maths, or something. Didn't really kind of fit. So yeah, it was a long-standing history of that kind of.
Brilliant.
Oh, the old Commodore 64. I had an Atari 400, then went up to an 800 XL. Love to do a bit of basic programming.
Exactly, back in the day.
Yeah.
And over to you, Sarah, the same question. Why did you choose the industry or sector or niche that you did?
Originally, actually, Paul said it there, that it really chose me in a way. I moved into sales stroke recruitment at quite a young age, probably connected to the fact that I needed to work to pay rent, because I was, I basically didn't have a family home from when I was about 16. So it was that drive to survive, I think, with no fears and no consequences, no thought pattern. And I'd wanted to go into the Navy. I went to a careers meeting. Some people who know me might know this story. I went to a careers meeting, said, what would you want to do? And when I chose my sort of O-levels and so on, I didn't want to do secretarial, which is quite bizarre considering how many secretaries I've recruited in my career. I didn't want to do typing. I knew I didn't want to do that. And I wanted to go into the Navy. And they said, why do you want to go into the Navy? I said, well, I want to go on a ship and I want to travel the world and I want to do something different, and they said, you're not allowed on a ship. And bizarrely enough, I know that things happen that sort of put you in an age range, as it were. You see things, you think, oh God, it's the anniversary of that. And that means it's 30 years, I think, since women were first allowed on a ship.
Wow. So
you can do the maths sort of thing there.
No and they said, needed here.
You might be allowed to go to an island like Cyprus and do a base thing, somewhere. And I just went, well, I'm not doing that then. Walked out the room. And then it just all sort of, I've been in hospitality and I did my A-levels and I met this lady who was in recruitment in London. And she told me what she was doing. She's a bit older than me. And I just went, I want to do that. And that was it. I'm very much like that sort of campaign. And everything I did from then for the next year, trying to gain experience and everything.
Yeah.
And the company I started with in recruitment was, I was the youngest person ever to be taken on.
Wow.
So that's why it was a mission, and now I can't get out of it. Now the madness is there, and that's why I have a love, and it's a fantastic industry. I love it. It makes them, it really does still give me a buzz every single day.
So many people I talk to, and we have spoken to in this Biz Hub session, have said that they got into something because somebody else was enthusiastic and they just was like, that sounds really good. They seem to really, really enjoy it. I think I would enjoy that. And whether it's a big, overt, massive, oh, I love it, or just that kind of really kind of solid, wow, they seem to really get a lot out of that. I think that's really, really important you communicate that.
I'm trying to communicate as well that as a woman, when I was coming through the education and going into a career, I'm sort of trying to paint that picture that I wanted to create. I wanted something to do something, and it was limited for women often. Everyone thought of a career right up to the point where you get married, or that was exactly how. And I wanted to do well for myself because it was absolutely necessary to have a job that I could do well in and be independent. So and it's certainly given me that. So that's me.
Thank you, Sarah. It's always I find this part really interesting, is how people got there. What about you, Sheila? How did you choose the industry or sector that you're in now?
I didn't choose it. No, I didn't choose it. No, it definitely chose me because it was my lifeline. Rather like Sarah, I had very poor careers advice, and went along, because you got to remember I'm 70. I will tell you how old I am, so you can imagine what it was like. Grammar school, girls went to the deputy headmistress, boys went to the headmaster, and the first question they ask is, what do you want to do? And I knew what I wanted to do, so her face lit up. So I said, I want to be a forensic scientist. And then it wasn't on the list. On the list. So she said, she actually told me a pack of lies, really. First of all, she said they don't take women, which is a lie. And then the one that was part true, I wasn't taking the right subjects, but there was no question of guiding me into the right subjects so I could do it, because she told me they don't take women. So the other thing I was adamant about, I wasn't going to university. So yes, Sarah, you either became a secretary, a nurse, or a school teacher. So I was given a day at college, at teacher training college. It was a fabulous day. What did it have to do with teaching? Nothing. It was just a glorious day out. So yeah, I went into teaching and regretted every day. I hated it, absolutely hated it. So I stuck it for 8 years. It was actually the change of headmaster that made me change, because the older guy who was retiring, he cared about the children. The guy who came in had no interest whatsoever. It was a stepping stone to a job at county level. And I thought, I can't work for you. I can't work under you. I mean, I don't like the job anyway, but to think that you are leading something and you're not interested either. And so I fell into bookkeeping and accounts preparation because I love numbers. And that's where I was. And a very unhappy first marriage. So I became a workaholic. I was happy about that because my employers were very happy and they rewarded me well. But I met up with David, ex-shepherd, when he retired from shepherding because of his age on the employment scrap heap. And that's where he picked up network marketing. And we just saw this tiny advert. It said, part-time, flexible, work from home, decide what you earn. I said, David, if you do that, I won't have to look after your flipping sheep because you're doing a job. You're doing a job that is anti-social hours. Yes, he started, but then, as a lot of you know, he had this massive stroke 14 years ago, turned our world upside down. And I decided, because I couldn't cope with full-time employment and being his only carer, I'm giving up work. I was 60, for goodness sake, I could. And I had to wait 6 months for the state pension. And for the whole of that 6 months with my private pension, all I had was £800. Wow. And that's when I panicked. But I knew that I could actually pick up what David had started, because I had been around it long enough to see that it really worked. And that's why, and I do love it.
Wow. And for some of the, you know, your story is you know, it chose you, you didn't choose it, but you're so passionate about it, and you absolutely love it. So sometimes it doesn't have to be a passion that is born, you know, say for example with Paul, it's, you know, he's had that passion from a very young age. Those things can come to you and you can develop such a passion for something. So it doesn't matter how you get there, it's just getting there, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really interesting. Thank you. And thank you for sharing. I mean, it's really interesting to hear how everybody finds, you know, their niches and their passions in life. It's pretty good.
Cool. I'm going to ask the next question, and I'm going to move it forward a little bit. And I'd like you to think about the ideal day in your business. If you could build an ideal day actually in your life, what would that look like? You know, what would you do in the morning? Where would you go for lunch? What would you be doing during the day? And I'm going to ask Sarah. Sarah, what does your ideal day look like?
I've had so many ideal days. It's just like multitudes of an ideal day. It would be one where I get up, I know what I'm going to be doing, kind of thing. Everything's already pre-organized. I know what, you know, pick what I'm going to wear, get ready. Ideal day would be read some real positive calls coming in. Somebody loves someone on interview, they want someone to start. Somebody's doing really well after their first week. There'll be a message coming up, someone celebrating their first year. It would be a series of real, you know, 2, 3, 4. And then I always go back. I do love Brown's in Covent Garden for lunch. I just love that place. Upstairs, the meetings and in the kiosks and so on. So it would really be, you know, a nice lunch with some lovely friends who are all coming in, and catch up and a few glasses of fizz. And then maybe, you know, come out of that and then come and do a few emails, check my diary for the next day, and make the next day a busy day, you know, just sort of.
It's so reflective of who you are. You're such a people person. It's all about meeting people and talking to people and being with people. That's fantastic.
Yeah, perfect day. Yeah.
What about
And
you, Sheila? What about you? What's your perfect day?
My perfect day has got to start with good weather. Because I like to get up, take my time, and like Sarah said, have the day planned, but go out for a lovely long walk. So yes, it's walking early, even if it's a bit chilly, I don't mind, but I don't like walking in the rain.
No, no.
I'm so lucky around here to be able to go on some fabulous walks and never meet a soul. And rather like, you know, somebody shouted, I can't remember who, my kingdom for a horse. Forget that, you can keep the horse. I've got the kingdom, I'm looking at it. And then it would be conversations, as in, you know, with future prospects, joining my team, catching up with customers, and always when I go to deliver to customers, we stop and we put the world to right, and I love that. I don't just take product to them, we put the world to right. And then you're quite right, Sarah, go somewhere really nice to have lunch. I've got so many places I like, I can't actually name one, but then just to do that, and then maybe a team catch up, and fit in a bit of killer Sudoku. I've got to do my killer Sudoku. And just chill, and actually sum it up as everything is planned, everything is happening, but it's very relaxed. That's the key, very relaxed.
Excellent, excellent, lovely, fantastic. The killer Sudoku bit, that's great.
Oh, I have to do that. I'm addicted. I'm totally addicted.
It's what keeps your brain kind of, you know, exercising those muscles and the numbers. You know, you said you were a numbers person.
I am.
Excellent. Paul, what about yourself? What does an ideal day entail?
Well, when I got these questions beforehand, I kind of focused on what is my typical day. So I've now just rewritten what my ideal day is in retrospect. And it's
keeping it live, Paul. We're just keeping it live.
Exactly, I know. I'm just mixing it up. So yeah, it definitely starts with coffee, strong coffee. It just helps the day. And then first tracks on a bluebird day in the mountains. Yeah, that's a perfect way to start the day when I'm not doing a school run. So in the snow, snowboarding, yeah, getting that first track in fresh powder, and then getting back for some breakfast. Then it'll probably be some early morning calls with some teams, just to kind of plan the day, figure out what's going on, what do we need to achieve for that day. Then there might be a discovery workshop that I would run to help a client understand, you know, what kind of solutions or problems that they're trying to solve. It would be quite interactive, it would be quite observational, it would be quite collaborative, all online and remote where necessary. Coach some team members. I do a bit of coaching of team members on new techniques and how to get stuff done when it comes to delivering software. Probably, hopefully at some point, celebrating, you know, the launch of a client's app, you know, celebrating with them and kind of having a bit of a hoorah about that. And then finishing off with, because I'm still in the mountains and still in the snow, enjoying the snowball fight with the kids.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Brilliant. Do you know, the best thing I love about these questions is that as small business owners, we can have and we can make these days our reality. You have that ability. Okay, maybe not snowboarding because we're limited with weather, but do you know what I mean? You have the ability to say, do you know what, that is my idea. I want to achieve that. And that is always the beauty of being a small business owner, because you can let your mind drift to that and you can achieve elements of that, of your ideal day, not necessarily every day, but there are elements of it that you can certainly put into practice when you are your own boss effectively, and do that. And sometimes I think we forget that. You get swept up in your business and you become an employee of your business, that you're just like, you know, to the grindstone. And yes, we have to work hard, but always remember that, I think, as small business owners, that you can definitely open your eyes and say, actually, that is I'm going to do that today, because it just keeps you inspired and keeps you going. So I always love hearing the answers to those.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I do is check in. If I've had too many days that vary way off piste, to use Paul's metaphor of being out on the soft powder, if I have too many days where I'm like, this is not right, it's all wrong, then something needs to change. you know, and you need to take ownership of that and change it. You can't expect somebody to ride in on a big charger and sweep you off your feet.
Exactly. You got to do it.
I think it's interesting as well, because I think in this climate, when I thought about that, I thought about how it is now. I've kept it quite low key, because in an ideal day, I'd have definitely been out on the horse on the beach. The lunch would have turned into cocktails at 5. There would have been a spa in that day, and I definitely would have been at a disco club by about 10 o'clock at night. So I've sort of kept it quite low key, really, and what's appropriate for now. But
exactly, I agree with you, Sarah. I definitely would have had a bottomless brunch in there, because you can't go wrong with a bottomless brunch.
Don't you wait for Freedom Day. I can't wait for Freedom Day. Come and join me on Freedom Day. It's going to be crazy, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Freedom Day.
I'm just going to go on in now about skills. I want to sort of explore skills and ask you the question of what unique skills do you have to run your business, and what skills have you identified, additional skills, to progress your business? So it's kind of an honesty one, in that, you know, what skills have I got that are unique to run my business, but what do I need? And I'm going to start with you, Sheila.
Right. What I think my best skill, and it's taken time to develop, is to become a really good listener. I was always waiting to talk. I even used to cross my fingers like, oh, I want to answer that, therefore you're not listening anymore. And tease out from people their pain points and where can I help them, but not jump in. Build a genuine, authentic relationship first, and I take the slow approach with whether it's a customer or recruiting somebody into the team, because we're in for the long haul. So we've got to know and trust and actually like each other and really get on. And my passion, my absolute passion, you know about it already, is the product's around forever, and I just love helping people. And the key thing is that the only way I get rewarded by forever is by helping people. You don't get rich by becoming a good salesperson of the forever products. You become rich in many ways by helping other people develop what it is that they want. My biggest challenge has come about because of COVID is technology. I'm very much face to face. I mean, I like all my senses to be satisfied by being with people. I just, you know, it's lovely we're looking at your faces, but you're flat. It's, you know, it's just and I've really struggled, really struggled, and it's my big learning curve. And I hope I will. No, forget the word hope. We don't use the word hope. I'm just going to overcome it and get on and trip up, pick myself up and move on.
But you have embraced it incredibly well, Sheila. For some, you know, you've not given up at the first hurdle. You've been to most of the meetings, most of the hub meeting sessions. You've been engaged. You've been to the networking. You know, you've really embraced it. So I think it's a pat yourself on the back, because, you know, when you don't like something, we often just give up and say, I just don't like it, I'm not doing it. But you've jumped in and you've carried on. So it shows resilience. So yeah, well done. Really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Sarah? What skills, what unique skills do you have to run your business? What have you identified?
Unique skills, I would say definitely resilience. You have to, when dealing, as Sheila rightly said, with people, you have to have a real understanding that, and continuously, that people are completely unique. Every single person you speak to has their own motivations, their own focus, their own worries, their own fears, their own situation. All skills. You are every single person, so you do have to learn to almost read between the lines. My unique skill, I think, is being able to pick up and having learned to pick up on things very quickly when I speak to people from the very first time I meet them. You don't have it on limited time. So that listening, yes, but it's picking out and making sure that you have that almost reading between the lines in what people are saying, but you get the information you need to work with them and move forward.
I think that's not something that you can pick up a textbook and learn. That's something inbuilt in you. So it is definitely a unique skill. Definitely.
Yeah, it comes from lots and lots of conversations. And I think for me, challenges in terms of how I dealt with technology. I think technology is amazing, you know, but really I started in the industry with literally a pen, a pad and a phone and a file box, and that was for candidates, clients and everything. You know, everything was manual. And I do think the speed at which everything goes at can be quite overwhelming because there's immediacy about everything.
Yeah.
But I do think you need to go back to that in a little way, just that little bit of take attention on everything that you do and get it dealt with there and then. Otherwise it overwhelms and you never like completely finish something. So there, yeah. So
brilliant.
As we saw from Keith talking about his podcast, you know, everything has to start somewhere, and if it starts with a file box, a phone and a pen and your motivation, if that's what you need, then just get started with that. You've got to start with something, and you might as well start and get moving, because momentum is so incredibly important just from a motivational point of view. If you never get started and you never sort of get on that on-ramp, sometimes it can be really difficult to then see everyone else accelerating away and going, oh, well, too late for me. But it's never too late. It really is never too late.
No, it's not. What about you, Paul?
It's really important.
Yeah, difficult one to answer, I guess for everyone. So what I had in mind was kind of 3 things. It was critical thinking, experimentation, and learning from results. And it's really the basis on which I'm starting to build Caribou Digital, because it's taking critical thinking and understanding, you know, what problems exist within people's businesses and people's lives and the lives of their clients, and kind of conceptualizing that and then analyzing it and doing the research and then trying to figure out what, what kind of solutions can you innovate on to kind of resolve those problems, you know, whether it's a small problem that's or all big, actually, you know, bigger world problems. And then kind of experimenting with that so that we can identify, what if we had a solution, then what would that solution be, and how would that solve that problem, that person or that business, and kind of iterating on those experiments to kind of learn more in order to achieve some kind of really good outcome for both the business and my clients and the people that use their product, and just kind of wrapping that up into a kind of like a kind of ever-ending cycle, really, just kind of like keep learning from those experiments and really challenging our understanding of what people need in terms of software and why they need that software, and not just kind of settling for, well, every other e-commerce shop in the world does this, so let's do the same. Kind of trying to kind of get into the depth and the weeds of why these things happen, and really being trying to find innovative ways of overcoming them. If that's a skill, then that's what I do.
It's definitely a skill, Paul. Put it down as a skill. It's a skill.
Yeah, you'd put that on your CV, wouldn't you, Sarah? Critical thinking,
absolutely.
Learning by results, all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the learning by results piece that's really important. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. I've learned something. That's the only thing that I've got as a benchmark. And if I've learned something, I can either do better next time or improve my results by what I've learned. So it's great. It's great. I love that.
Have you identified any additional skills that you might need, Paul?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Anything from sales to marketing to kind of pushing the business, that kind of stuff is not my strong point. It's never really been a key thing. I'm good one-to-one, often not so good in kind of trying to be more kind of vocal with wider audiences.
Can I ask you a question? Do you find it difficult to relay the technical information to people that don't really understand the technology? I know you and I have had conversations, and I ask you really like basic questions. Do you find it like I don't know. Do you find it difficult to explain that to people that don't understand it?
I think it's there's two answers to that. So in the realm of the stuff that I do and the people that I work with, generally that's a much easier conversation to have. When it comes to people who have actually no idea about what I do or how I do it, then that's often a tougher gig, as you may have noticed.
Oh no, but when I always feel bad asking somebody who's very knowledgeable and technical when I know nothing, but I'm not one to fear of asking a question, so I will always ask it. But I just think it must be quite frustrating and quite difficult to explain it to somebody who really hasn't got a clue.
Well, that's a perfect example of the kind of critical thinking that I do with customers about kind of getting to the depth and the weeds of things, and that's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just well, I don't quite understand, so tell me more.
Yeah. Good.
Fabulous, excellent. So we've had a look at where you came from and how you got into what you got into, what kind of skills you need now, and what you're doing now. And we're going to look ahead. We're going to peek over the horizon and see what's over there. And I think we'd like to know from you, Sheila, what do you think the biggest opportunities for your business are at the moment? Given there's quite a lot of uncertainty, it'd be interesting to see what your take is on your business going forward, what you see the areas of growth and opportunity are.
The areas of growth are definitely creating a larger team, but basically making sure they understand I'm looking for people who want to develop their own team. So I'm a great believer in, or I follow Simon Sinek. He wrote a book, how it's all about why, and he's all about leadership. And he says the only thing that makes you a leader is because you've gone first and you've set the example. And the true leader actually discovers the leaders and people that they introduce, that they are working with, so that they start their own leadership, because we're all on a level playing field. And the key thing with network marketing is it is a completely level playing field. Nobody can buy a position. You literally all start at the beginning. With Forever, it's literally a box of products, which most of them you're currently using anyway, so it makes it very easy to start with them. They pick up all the risk. And in the current climate with COVID, this is an opportunity for anybody who is prepared to do a bit of hard work, is prepared to help others. They're over 18 and they're honest and ethical. It is open to anyone. And look how many people need something. And the other thing I love about it, and it's something I try to impress upon people, is don't stop what you're doing. You do not have to stop what you're doing. The only people who are going to suffer as a result of you getting involved with Forever is the high street, because you will no longer be buying the products that you would have bought on the high street or online, because you're going to buy them from your own shop effectively. And it's just getting that message to people that, you're in a desperate situation. You can't see a way out. Well, this could be the way out. And Forever picks up all the risk. That's the key thing. There's no risk with this at all. Not at all.
Fantastic. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you for that. Sarah, same to you. What's the biggest opportunities for Oraculum RPO that you see currently?
Over the horizon.
Over the horizon.
Going forward, absolutely. Opportunities. There are so many. I mean, the recruitment, staffing, employee support is central to businesses. I know it's a bit difficult now, but I am already inspired by how businesses are still looking, they're moving through, they're looking for growth, they're thinking of the future. The Kickstarter scheme has immediately shown me that people are, you don't do it just on your own, you don't build success on your own, and that's always the case. Recruitment never ends. There aren't thousands of recruitment agencies, consultancies for no reason. So I'm really excited that I know from previously that there will, businesses will be coming back, and I'm very excited to see how new businesses especially start to grow again. There may be it may shrink a little bit. It's not all going to be a very easy going forward, But from experience, I know that the innovative businesses and the businesses that are going to grow again, it's going to be a very exciting time. And having the privilege of working alongside business owners as they're growing, so the MDs, the CEOs, and being part of that and really getting to know their company and their vision and what they want to do and how they want to grow is just so exciting. From everything that's happened, completely being able to work completely online anywhere, for me, that freedom, that's partly why I changed, not to be fixed, be able to work on different projects and different parts that businesses actually need at the time is so exciting. Not to do the same old, to do it differently. So find out the help that's needed then. And also, you know, having an opportunity to be in a position to try and help people who are looking for work now as much as possible.
Yeah.
Those conversations I know at this time, I've got people I know from 2008 who still pop up with the odd email saying, I'm doing really well now, I'm doing this now, I'm doing that. You know, honestly, it is so, you know, I welcome, and I really hope that I can help as many people as possible to get through this, find their path. Because it's really, really important, people's lives. And for my own, you know, we're all impacted ourselves. So we're in it together, but, you know, helping people at this time is really, really important. And it's, I'm really, you know, I'm really excited, and that's what I see on the horizon.
Do you, this is a perception from the outside, and you might be able to correct me on this, but do you see that recruitment is a long game because you're constantly networking, and those people you put in positions as they rise through the ranks, they remember you, and then they come back and you can have conversations about that and help them in other areas of their career? Is that true? Yeah,
it's a crazy world to be in. The crazy world of recruitment and staffing is that it's never-ending cycle. Right. You know, people don't just get made redundant, people leave jobs for their career. People drop bombshells on their bosses, you know, all sorts happens. Anything can happen on a Monday is what we say. Anything, anything, Monday.
But talking about the cycle, Sarah, it's also people that you place, develop and grow within a business, that they're in a position that they recruit. So they're looking for somebody. So it's that ongoing relationship that you know, if you place somebody and you have a good relationship with them, chances are when they get promoted up and have to recruit themselves, they'll come back to you. So,
but as we well know as business owners, and the reality of SMEs and so on, is that you are needed when you're needed.
Yeah.
With recruitment, you can go, you know, hello, how are you? All of that, and nobody will want to talk to you until they go, either I want a job or I've got someone I need. And that's reality. So you have to be resilient in terms of that you can recruit somebody, but you're not the employer. I think you said about advice and taking, but you have to be able to get right into a business, but then step back. But the joy of watching people grow and develop, and the successes and having that connection is such a massive reward. I get a lot of strength from just knowing that. I had a lady who put up that it was her 8th anniversary at an engineering company recently. Yeah, and she's still there. And it's been 8 years, and I was just like delighted. That's a good placement, you know.
That is.
But I am excited about what's over the horizon. You know, obviously it's hard, it's going to be harsh, but I'm always things are really, really, you know, they're going to be fine. I'm doing what I love.
Change presents a lot of opportunities. You've just got to sometimes maybe change your focus, change your mindset, just see things a little bit differently. That's why talking to people is always good, because you'll be able to present your ideas and they'll go, oh, I don't see it like that, I see it like this. And if you're flexible mentally, it can make a big difference. Paul, what about yourself? What do you see as the biggest opportunities at the moment in your industry or sector?
I'm just going to start with touching on something that Sarah said. The fact now that we work in this remote fashion, and the ability to basically work with anybody, anywhere, anytime, which everyone thought we couldn't do 8 months ago, and we've just blown that out of the water. It's now become a norm, where once it was before, it was some companies would do it, but actually, you know, you've got so much market potential now that you know, people just wouldn't engage in, and now it's not, yeah, like I said, a norm. It's just something that I've done for many years, but it's good to see that the rest of the world is catching up with that, that idea. So that's cool. And then specifically, I guess, in my niche, in my market, something that you know, part of what Code Digital does is work with platforms that basically make delivering software, making software a downside easier and a lot quicker than it ever used to be. It's called the no code movement. No code as in no coding happening, but it has, you know, very wide kind of spectrum to literally, you know, everyone on this call could make a mobile app, to something a little bit more kind of you know, immersive and complex, which is where I kind of work in, and still need some kind of software background. And it just basically democratizes the ability for people to get solutions built, you know, at a much lower cost than would have necessarily been the case 5 years ago. You know, the average cost of an app can cost anything from £60,000, and that's really just with a one-person team. You know, the average kind of product costs like £250,000 to £1 million to deliver. But now you can get pretty much the same thing done with, you know, within 3 months and a fraction of that price, and it's still the same product, and it still achieves the same goal, and it still achieves the same level of complexity. And I think that's really exciting, because you know, you can, you know, allow a lot more businesses to kind of innovate a lot more quickly, and leave the really complex stuff and the really challenging stuff to developers who can't get excited by that stuff. But otherwise, you know, there's lots of ways you can be innovative very a lot more quickly these days.
It's a lot more accessible for smaller businesses, for example. The accessibility is not, you know, the reach is a lot easier for small business.
Yeah.
Well, accessibility has always been something that the tech industry has strived to improve. And we were talking about computers back maybe when we were younger chaps, and they were just bits of plastic that didn't do anything until you interacted with them and programmed them and told them what to do. And now everyone's got a computer in their pocket, and it's connected to pretty much every other computer like it in the world, possibly, and they're so easy to use. So, you know, that simplification of technology, and as Paul said, that democratization of who uses it, it's really important that there are people like Paul in the world that can champion that to people and say, look, you know, this is not as difficult as you perhaps thought it was, even just a year later or 18 months later. So it's really, really interesting and encouraging that Paul's a cheerleader like that for businesses to be able to say, hey, look, you know, you can have what you want and a fraction of the price you thought that you were going to have to pay. So it's great. It's great to see that. Lou, do you have any more questions, any follow-ups, any final comments?
Well, I think what we should, it's 10:30, so I think we should open the show to everybody. Let's get everybody, Gareth can promote everybody. Let's get everybody in the room and see if we've got any questions from the people attending. And yeah, take it from there.